Hello, dear friend, and welcome to PI Time. Today, we're diving into reparenting your inner child, how to become your own loving parent. It's time to become positively improved. There's a version of you that still remembers, a younger you who learned very early how to survive, a younger you who adapted to tension, criticism, silence, chaos, or emotional absence. A younger you who may have become overly responsible, overly quiet, overly independent, or overly pleasing. And here is the truth. Many of the patterns you wrestle with today were formed when you were too young to choose them. Today, we're talking about something powerful and life-changing, reparenting your inner child. This episode is not about blaming your parents, is not about living in the past, is not about becoming fragile. It is about maturity. It is about responsibility at the highest level. It is about becoming the steady, loving, emotionally available parent you may not have consistently had. By the end of this episode, you will understand what reparenting actually means, how childhood patterns quietly shape adult behavior, practical strategies to nurture emotional safety within yourself, and how to move forward with strength, clarity, and self-respect. Let's begin. Friend, your inner child is not a metaphor meant to make you sentimental. It is your emotional memory system. It is the part of you that reacts quickly, that feels shame intensely, that fears rejection, that longs to be seen, that sometimes throws emotional tantrums in adult form, withdrawal, defensiveness, overworking, perfectionism, or people-pleasing. Reparenting means this. You stop waiting for someone else to give you the safety, validation, or affection you didn't consistently receive. And you begin giving it to yourself, intentionally. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. See, Alaric was successful by every external measure. Corporate executive, impressive resume, calm under pressure. But privately, he felt constant anxiety. Every achievement felt temporary. Every compliment felt suspicious. Every mistake felt catastrophic. When we explored his history, something became clear. As a child, Alaric received praise only when he excelled. Love felt conditional. Achievement equaled approval. So his nervous system learned, perform or you're not safe. As an adult, that pattern did not disappear. It intensified. Reparenting began when Alaric learned to say something radical to himself after a mistake. I am still worthy. Even now, it sounds simple, but it was revolutionary. Instead of self-criticism, he practiced self-reassurance. Instead of punishing himself, he paused and regulated his breathing. Instead of overworking to compensate, he rested intentionally. He became the parent who says, "You tried." That matters. Let's learn from this and move forward. And slowly, the anxiety softened. Now, here's what Alaric's story teaches us, dear friend. Your adult stress often has a younger root. When you overreact, shut down, or spiral, it is not weakness. It is protection. And protection deserves understanding, not shame. Let's move deeper. Reparenting begins with awareness. Ask yourself, what do I feel emotionally small? What triggers outsized reactions? Where do I crave validation the most? Where do I abandon myself to keep peace? These are clues, because your inner child shows up most loudly where something once felt unsafe. Let me share another story. Now let's look at Sorella, who was kind, empathetic, the one everyone called in crisis. But she was exhausted. She said yes to everything. She apologized constantly. She feared disappointing anyone. As a child, Sorella learned that emotional harmony kept the household stable. If she were easy, conflict decreased. So she became easy. As an adult, that strategy turned into self-erasure. Reparenting for Sorella meant learning boundaries, and boundaries felt terrifying at first. Her first no was followed by a panic attack. But here's what changed. Instead of criticizing herself for the fear, she comforted herself through it. She would literally place her hand over her chest and say, "It's okay. You're safe." Saying no doesn't mean you'll be abandoned. That is reparenting. It soothes your nervous system when it expects danger. Over time, Sorella learned something extraordinary. Discomfort does not equal catastrophe, and the people who respected her boundaries remained. She stopped parenting everyone else and began parenting herself. Notice something, friend. Neither Alaric nor Sorella needed more productivity hacks. They needed emotional safety. And emotional safety is not found outside first. It is cultivated within. It is important to understand that a loving parent does not scream at a frightened child. A loving parent co-regulates. When your inner child panics, you must become the calm adult. This is practical work. Slow breathing during triggers. Speaking gently to yourself internally. Pausing before reacting. Refusing to escalate your own shame. Let me introduce you to someone who learned this the hard way. Caleb, who grew up in a household where anger meant danger. Doors slammed. Voices rose. Silence lasted for days. As an adult, he had two responses. Either suppress anger completely or explode unexpectedly. Neither felt safe. When he began reparenting work, he realized something powerful. His inner child believed anger destroys connection. So instead of shaming his anger, he began listening to it. He would pause and ask, "What boundary feels crossed right now?" Instead of yelling, he practiced firm but calm statements. Instead of disappearing, he stayed present. And when he slipped, he didn't spiral into guilt. He repaired. A loving parent teaches, corrects, and reconnects. Caleb learned that anger is not violence. It is information. That shift restored something in him, his voice. Friends, reparenting is not indulgence. It is discipline at an emotional level. You are teaching yourself. Feelings are allowed. Reactions can be chosen. Mistakes can be repaired. Safety can be internal. Now, let's explore something deeper. Many adults were never taught how to rest without guilt, how to receive affection, how to play without purpose, how to feel secure without performing. Reparenting includes nourishment, and sometimes that nourishment feels foreign. Let me tell you about Iskindra. See, Iskindra prided herself on needing no one. She handled everything, paid her own way early, solved every problem alone. But beneath that strength was loneliness. As a child, vulnerability was dismissed. Tears were labeled dramatic. Needs were inconvenient, so she eliminated the need. Reparenting began when she allowed herself something small, asking for help with a minor task. Her body shook. Her mind said, "You're weak," but she stayed with it. And when the person responded kindly, something inside her softened. She began practicing, accepting compliments without deflection, scheduling rest intentionally, saying, "I don't know," without shame. Iskindra did not become dependent. She became balanced, strength with softness, capability with connection, and that restored her capacity for intimacy. Dear friend, notice the thread connecting these stories. Alaric restored worth beyond achievement. Sorella restored voice beyond approval. Caleb restored expression beyond fear. Iskindra restored connection beyond self-protection. Each one reclaimed something that childhood had quietly restricted. This is what reparenting does. It does not erase the past. It integrates it. You stop fighting your younger self. You start caring for them. Now, here are some practical strategies for reparenting. Let's make this actionable. Here are grounded, realistic steps you can begin today. 1. Identify your core wound narrative. Write down the sentence your inner child believes. "I'm only loved if I perform. I am too much. My needs don't matter." Conflict equals abandonment. Awareness weakens distortion. 2. Create a counterstatement. Develop a mature, grounded response. "I am worthy beyond achievement. My emotions are valid." Healthy conflict strengthens connection. Repeat it when triggered, not casually, but intentionally. 3. Practice emotional check-ins. Ask daily, what am I feeling? What do I need? What would a loving parent say right now? Then respond accordingly. 4. Regulate before you react. When triggered, pause for 90 seconds. Slow your breath. Relax your jaw. Soften your shoulders. Calm physiology first. Conversation second. 5. Set one boundary this week. Small but clear. Boundaries teach your inner child. You are protected now. 6. Schedule nourishment. Not productivity. Nourishment. Play. Rest. Creativity. Connection. This signals to your nervous system. Life is not just survival anymore. Friend, here is the uncomfortable part. No one is coming to fix your childhood. And that is not tragic. It is empowering because you're no longer powerless. You have adult capacity now. Resources, awareness, choice. You can become the parent you needed to be. And when you do, something extraordinary happens. You stop seeking completion in others. You start entering relationships whole. You stop overreacting to minor triggers. You respond with steadiness. You stop abandoning yourself. You advocate for yourself. This is emotional adulthood. As we close, let's revisit what we've uncovered. Reparenting is recognizing old emotional patterns, regulating your nervous system during triggers, speaking to yourself with compassion and firmness, setting boundaries that protect your peace, restoring rest, play, affection, and voice, moving forward intentionally rather than reactively. Alaric, Sorella, Calum, and Iskindra all faced different challenges, but they shared one decision. They chose to stop criticizing their survival strategies and start updating them. Dear friend, your coping patterns were intelligent ones. They kept you safe, but you were allowed to evolve beyond them. You were allowed to feel secure without performing, to say no without panic, to express anger without destruction, to receive love without suspicion. That is the work, and it is worthy work. Before this week ends, commit to 3 things. Notice one emotional trigger and pause before reacting. Offer yourself one compassionate internal statement during stress. Take one small action that nurtures, not proves, your worth. Write them down. Do not overcomplicate this. Healing is built in small, consistent acts of internal leadership. Friend, you are not behind. You are becoming. And the moment you choose to parent yourself with steadiness and care, you rewrite your future in ways your younger self could not imagine. And as we wrap up today's conversation, remember that the insights and practices we've explored aren't just ideas. They're invitations. Invitations to pause, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. Let's carry that intention forward together. On behalf of myself, Faith Harmony, and a positively improved team, thank you for being here. Make it a daily practice to pause, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. Carry this energy with you, and we'll continue the journey together next week. Namaste.